Hey guys, welcome back. I am so sorry this is up so late. Oh my gosh. It's not even that I got busy. I was working on this for hours, like tens of hours, trying to get this to work over this last week. Ugh. You will see why, because there is some serious drama in this video. Let that be your warning. So this week, as promised, I'm going to be drawing my Spidersona. Since last week I actually designed her and colored her and stuff, this week I wanted to try my hand at actually putting her into some kind of dynamic spider pose, which turned out to be a lot harder than I thought it would. I knew that Spider-Man had some really ridiculous dynamic poses and stuff, with all kinds of anatomy-defying panels and clips, but I don't think I actually really understood how necessary it is to have a solid grasp on how to do that if I have any hope of making this look dynamic and not static. So, with this first drawing, what I tried to do was I kind of wanted this character to be swinging around a building with that sticker point skewer thingy coming out for a solid stabby stab. But again, I did not take into account just how extreme you have to be when posing a spider character. And that is why, in just a few moments, you will witness almost an entire hour and a half of me attempting to fix this freaking arm and get it to cooperate. Ah, here it is, my hesitation. Let it begin. And now for a brief intermission. I'm sorry. You thought that was over? No. If I had to suffer through this for an hour and a half, you guys get to suffer for 30 seconds. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I love you guys, so I would never want you to suffer. Which is why I am starting over. I am starting from scratch. Let it be known that I don't just post anything on the internet. I have to put comedic music behind it, I have to be ultra sarcastic, and then I have to restart it from scratch. So, this time around, I'm going to do sort of a more comic booky feel. I want to divide this page up into two separate parts, equal but separate, and I want one side to be her human persona, and then I want one side to be the Spidersona. And yes, because I'm a professional artist, I do have a ruler, but it's in my room, and I have a sketchbook right next to me, so I'm just going to use that. So I'm thinking that on the bright side, I'm going to have my character's persona, because I'm going to have more of a ground plane available for her to just be walking around among the plebes of the world. Just kidding. Among all of the normal people. And then I want her to be higher up in the sky, maybe near some buildings on the left side. Also, as we go, I'm going to provide you with some fun facts and trivia about me! I don't know, it's only gonna be fun if you actually like me, but hopefully if you're watching this you like me, so let's begin. I wasn't always the well-dressed individual you guys know and love today. In fact, back in high school, and middle school, and elementary school, and some of college, I dressed pretty much like a slob. I did not care at all about what I would wear. I had a lot of friends who told me that I was more or less a trendsetter, so I would just wear whatever I wanted and I looked okay in it, but I think my friends were just being nice because I look back at those pictures and not so much. I only really learned how to dress and how to dress for my body type and trends in fashion, stuff like that once I actually got out to California. Go figure, right? The reason for the wolf on the shirt is because besides wearing horrendously shredded baggy jeans, I also wore shirts that were probably 3 or 4 sizes too big for me, and I love me some logo shirts and some illustrative shirts. So one of my favorites was this wolf one, which also coincides with an amusing anecdote that probably no one will find funny, but my best friend and I growing up found it absolutely hilarious. I was really tired and I was trying to portray that something externally matched my shirt, and instead of actually saying, this thing matches my shirt, I said, the wolf's eyes match my shirt. It made no sense. But for some reason, as 13-year-old kids, it was hilarious! Alright, so we're getting into the Spidersona side now, and I definitely made an effort to have some kind of foreshortening or some kind of dimension or dynamism in this. And I like the final result more than what I was coming up with here. In this one, I was kind of having her propel herself forward, but I think I like the final version, which you'll see shortly. But I had a much clearer understanding of the hands, although I'm so unhappy with how the poker thing came out, because I really wanted that to be a focal point of the image, but I could not figure out a good way for it to come forward without actually planting itself in something, and I didn't really want to do a really violent scene for this. So I've always been a sucker for anything that portrays dimension, especially when that dimension can come forward, be perceived as coming off the page, and then go back into the image. So that's more or less what I tried to get at here. I have the spider version shooting this webbing out towards the viewer, and then it comes back around and up through the human's side. I'm bringing back in those design elements of those kind of abstract looking buildings in the background, and ideally it helps to lead your eye kind of in this swirl. If you were to put a simple line through all of the different elements in this, I think you would see that everything is directing your eye towards the center. I'm putting some vegetation down here, some trees and bushes and such, to just kind of show how high up in the air she is. And I'm finally going to be adding the hood and patterns to the Spidersona side. So as you may have noticed on the human side, I had some lockers there. Well, that is not faithful to where I went to school for high school, so I decided to take it out, because where I went to school for high school, there were very little in the way of lockers. Because I went to a fairly non-traditional high school, it was much more similar to a college or a university, in that you basically chose when you wanted to take your classes. Also, everything was online, so that was pretty cool. Anyway, so I just felt it was more fitting for our human to have a friend that she was walking around with instead of walking past and, you know, talking mindlessly to lockers. Getting into my inking now, which everybody knows is my favorite part of my day. God, I'm getting anxiety just thinking about the drama that's about to ensue. I really messed up on a little part here when I get into coloring. You'll see. You'll see. Stick around and you'll see. Anyway, back to my embarrassing childhood. So I used to drag around this backpack that probably at any one time contained about maybe 75 pounds of books, video games, paper, art supplies, bricks. You never know what's in there. I didn't even know what's in there. I actually still use that backpack though. Pretty phenomenal. That's probably the best purchase that has ever been made on my behalf. Something that I didn't wear so much back then, but that I wear constantly now, and I just decided to pay homage to it because I do like them a lot. One of my close friends gave me a bunch of bead bracelets that he made. So I did give the human high school version one of those beaded bracelets. I'm going to finish inking this, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite strategies for when I do foreshorten things. As you can probably imagine, the more things that you can do to make something look like it's approaching the viewer when you're trying to do 3D or foreshorten things, the better. And one of my strategies is to more darkly outline the things that are closer to the viewer. Alright, erase, 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 and so in the same vein as what I just talked about with something that's closer to the viewer being more heavily outlined, it also just generally helps something to stand out. So I'm going to be outlining both the high school version and the Spidersona version with this Copic marker. And that way, no matter how vibrant or clear the colors are in the backgrounds, the characters themselves will still stand out. So as you can see, I'm outlining her hands specifically so that against any kind of background, again, they're going to stand out. It also really helps with focusing the viewer's attention on this is the foreground, that's the middle ground, that's the background. Alright guys, here we go. I'm coloring! Yay! So right now I'm using my watercolor pencils. which is just fine. I almost think I should have stuck with those. So of course using this brush to smooth out those colored pencil pigments. And now I'm going to move on to my Arteza brush pens. I just really love how vibrant they are, and I know I've said that in literally every video that I have used them in, but I really do. But unfortunately, I did not realize what I had done, and you will see why in a moment. Okay, y'all, I just need you to bear witness to what's about to happen here. So I'm putting some blush on nose and cheeks and elbows, and then I decided to try and go in and blend it with my blending brush. Now, I can only imagine that this would be just fine if I let it dry first.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I really wish I had recorded my actual real-time reaction to this because I panicked. I was like, you know what? I wonder what I can do here. I know, I can procrastinate, color something else, but you can't avoid the truth forever, can ya? I don't know, I mean, I've got kind of a warped curiosity of how well I can fix this mess. So yes, a part of me panicked, and I definitely turned off the camera and let it charge while I was trying to experiment with the best way to fix this. So what I wound up doing with the camera off was I let it dry first of all, which I should have done in the first place, and then I proceeded to go back over it with that fleshy tone, and I just blended that out some more because I didn't learn my lesson the first time. I let that dry, and then I went back over it with my micron pen, which is how I got these nice clean lines back, and now you're all caught up. Let's resume. Okay, so I'm getting back to work on my coloring for my Spidersona side, and as I was inking this, I was thinking of how I wanted to differentiate the two sides, because I didn't want them to be separate only in the fact that the spider side is flying high in the sky and then the other is wandering the ground level of a school. I also wanted the colors to be a little bit different. So on the left side with the Spidersona, what I was aiming to do is have a lot of really warm, vibrant colors. Because I mean, that's like a superhero persona, right? So it's like, I feel like you'd see the world in a whole new way. And it would be vibrant and beautiful. On the right side, everything's gonna be cool colors, lots of blues, purples. I was thinking of putting greens, and then I was like, nah. And the only thing that's really connecting the two sides are the trees that cross over the boundary, and then of course also the webbing that leaches into the high school side. Oh, also, I realized that I haven't told you guys the actual backstory that I came up with. It's not very in-depth. In fact, I was trying to contemplate it while I was drawing this, but I was so concerned about not getting this video out on time, I had trouble focusing. So I'm just gonna tell you about what I got so far. So, in this comic book world, our little heroine, Dale, attends a non-traditional school in the heart of New York City, because nowhere else has decent skyscrapers. And I already made up a Spidersona, I'm not trying to make up a whole new city. So while attending this school, and being given all of the freedoms she's able to have because of this curriculum, she has a lot more free time on her hands than most high school students. And as such, she finds her way into making friends with some unsavory individuals, because instead of attending after-school clubs, she enjoys things like long walks down abandoned tunnels, pleasant strolls down dark alleys, and randomly wandering behind no trespassing signs. At a mere 15 years old, she is already friends with some of the people who run the criminal underground of New York City, because why not? She hangs out with them pretty regularly. She doesn't really partake in anything, but she's aware of what they get into and she doesn't really care. As long as it doesn't interfere with anything she's doing or anyone she cares about, she's good. One day, one of her friends from this criminal underworld, who is a thief and deals in illegal imports, he notices her poor fashion sense. He notices her poor fashion sense and he starts poking fun at her. And while he's poking fun at her, he teasingly gives her this material. Now, what is this fabric, you may ask? Well, you know what? Dale doesn't care, because Dale doesn't care about fabric or fashion or anything. So she brings that to her friend, who she actually does know is into cloth and different material and actually aspires to be a costume designer, ironically. and she gives it to her instead, and she's just like, I just found this thing, it feels really weird and it looks kind of cool, so I thought maybe you'd like it. And her friend's super excited, and if that seems on the nose, then you're wrong, because my actual childhood best friend did in fact, and I think she still does want to be a costume designer. So, whatever if you think that's too on the nose, as far as her connections on how she winds up getting her suit. By the way, that material is vibranium. I don't know, I could certainly refine this a little bit more, but still. As for how she gets bitten by the actual spider, I think that'll be another part of the illegal import. It might even have been on the cloth that the guy gave her, maybe, and it bit her before she handed it off to her friend. Whether it happens at that point or another hangout sesh with her crime lord buddy, I do think I want her to get bitten under some kind of pretense that makes her afraid that if she goes to the hospital or sees a doctor or tells anyone about it, that she'll get in big trouble. And that would be why she just kind of like sits around and she's like, wow, I feel like I'm dying. Alright guys, well I hope my humor wasn't too morbid for you, but I'm literally losing my mind because I've been working on this for way too long. I am so sorry it took so long to get this up, but as you can see, there's almost 2 weeks worth of content in this, in both narration and work. So, hopefully you're satisfied and hopefully you enjoyed this. If you guys hear about any other art challenges where you get to make up your own characters and backstory and stuff, please let me know. This stuff is so much fun. And actually, I'm really thinking if anyone has like a short story that they would like me to read and then also that they would like me to illustrate something to, let me know, because that would be really fun. I would love to just read something and illustrate to it, and then it'd be a fun surprise for all of us, really. So, with that, I think I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching. You are so welcome to visit me at my Etsy store, my Instagram, or my Facebook, all below. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and hit that bell icon if you want to be notified whenever I upload, which is generally once a week. And till next time.